Zack Polanski delivered the Green Party's political broadcast. This was broadcast on British TV today, and I'm going to be honest, it's pretty good. Now, I'm sure you're aware, I'm not a fan of Zack Polanski, but he is an effective communicator, and he has hit on a problem, a real problem that we actually have that actually needs to be solved. And so what we're going to do is we're going to watch this, and then we're just going to talk about it, because I think the points he raises, whether you like it or not, are valid points. Even though, of course, his answer, even if it wasn't a communist answer, I just don't think it would work. I just don't think it would actually do what he expects it to do. But anyway.
Why does it feel like everyone's running all the time? You are, we all are, like we can never catch a breath. Rent's up, water bill's up. You dread opening that next energy bill. And when did everything become such a luxury? Going to a cafe, reading glasses are too expensive so you squint. Even going to the dentist gets put off. So
I'm not gonna make the obvious joke there. I'm not gonna do it. And, to be honest with you, that was probably quite clever for him to leave that in. But he is right? And that's a really effective way of putting the point. Everyone is running faster and faster just to stand still. Things are getting more expensive. Things are getting more difficult. The economy, the inflation, the difficulty getting jobs, it's all a part of the same problem, and it's all something that we're struggling with. And so this is a really effective way of speaking to people who are not his natural constituency. I suggest that people do not underestimate Polanski, as repugnant as he might be to look at or listen to. I think that will come secondary to the real issues that he is raising and the real problems that he is addressing. And the right absolutely has to address this as well.
gets put off. So you cut back and you pick up the pace. No holiday this year. Sorry kids. Living with tooth pain. You take a second job, sometimes 3, just to stay where you are. Wages stuck in 2008. Prices racing ahead. You never get to see the kids, snapping at them when you do. And it's the same story all around the country. Cities, towns, villages. People working full-time, still broke. Builders building houses they'll never live in. Nurses queuing up at food banks. And we're the lucky ones, the ones with jobs. Some people can't run at all.
So, I mean, the people without jobs are actually being very well taken care of. We would be the lucky ones if we got to keep the money we were making. But he is right. The cost of living is unbelievable at the moment. The price of everything is through the roof. And I just mean like the normal necessaries of daily life, right? This is all absolutely catastrophic. And beginning properly in COVID, where prices start to really spike. But it's not gotten any better. And I don't see anyone saying how it's going to get better on the horizon. And all Rachel Reeves can do is, I think I'm going to have to raise taxes. So, okay. Is that the solution to these problems? Because I feel that there isn't a sudden lack of milk or bread or whatever the commodity is I intend to buy for my weekly grocery shop. I feel that the problem is something else, right? Milk production, is that down? Is wheat production down? Or is it that there has been a series of shocks to the system and a massive inflation of the money supply, and we find ourselves with more money than actual resources? I'm no economist. We'll let Zack carry on. He's the economist here.
Buried in debt, disabled kids, denied support, pensioners choosing which room to heat, if any. The pressure never lifts, so the rest of us run faster to help the people we love. The NHS is buckling. Our rivers are full of filth. Hopeless.
Why is that?
Sets in, and you're moving so fast, everything is just a blur, and that's when it hits you. What if the answer isn't to run faster? What if the most powerful thing we can do, all of us, all together at once, is to stop running and look around?
Then you'd see things that you don't want to see. Then you would look around and you'd be like, who are all these strange people? Why is my town so dilapidated? What am I paying so much tax for, and why do they never have jobs? Why is it they're sat around doing things I don't agree with, intimidating people on the street corners? Why have we allowed all of this to happen? Right? Look, I mean, don't get me wrong, I want everyone to stop and look around. I want that to be the case. Some people are like, hang on, is this the country we were supposed to have after all of this? After the... I've been reading Alistair Campbell's diaries from when the Blair government came to power, and this was not on the menu, right? The state of the country as it is now was not what they were pitching. I mean, I remember it very clearly. It's hope and change. Things can only get better. And everyone looks around as Zack Polanski, who buys into everything that the Blair government does. He's just disappointed they didn't go further. He looks around and goes, well, this isn't what I wanted. It's like, okay, but this is what we got.
Because the moment you stop running and really look, one thing becomes really clear. When the rest of us are killing ourselves to create wealth, and hardly any of it is coming back to our communities. It's going somewhere else.
That's a great point. The wealth isn't coming back to my community, which I can just say the English community. It is indeed going somewhere else, Zack. Where could that be?
Upwards to the pockets of the super rich.
Now, on this, he does have a point. The wealth increase of the super rich, as he calls them, has increased by a vast amount in the last 5 years. I mean, I think that possibly shutting down all of the independent small businesses and only allowing us, for the period of nearly 2 years, or a year really, to only shop at mega stores has had something to do with it. He doesn't bring this up, of course. But he is right that that is the case. He is right that these things are happening. And what do we see the Labour government doing? Well, further penalising small shops, further penalising pubs, further penalising everything when everything gets more expensive. Like Ed Miliband, right, your energy costs are the highest in the world, and they're just going to go up because they intend on the climate change, the climate boondoggle of the energy generation of wind power and solar in Britain. It's like, sorry, this is expensive, and it is not as productive as cheaper and more efficient alternatives, and yet here we are. And that affects everyone in the country, but it hits the poorest hardest. And Zack doesn't say that because, of course, he's the leader of the Green Party. He's congenitally blind to half of the problem. I'll admit, I only focus on my right-wing half of the problem, but I suppose that way, my right-wing half of the problem, I suppose it depends how you're looking at it, but he can only see his left-wing half of the problem. He has to deny the other side. I concede that the rich have got far richer under the current tenure of the past couple of governments and the way that the system works at the moment. They have got significantly richer, and the rest of us have got significantly poorer. But Zack can only see half of that problem. I think that's a real problem that Zack's going to struggle with, because the fact of it is, a lot of the reason this has happened is mismanagement, incompetence, corruption, but another large portion of it is the agenda itself was always designed to do this. And that's one of the reasons why the costs that we have are spiraling out of control.
This isn't just an economic failure. It's a failure of leadership. The people we elected choose to serve the wealthy and not us. And yes, that is obscene. Good leaders put people before profit. They know homes are for living in, not landlords' portfolios.
Now, this is another good point, that in this he is echoing Donald Trump, who signed an executive order preventing large corporations, international conglomerate corporations like BlackRock, Vanguard, whoever, from buying houses. Look, good. That's great. Corporations don't live in homes. People live in homes. And if they're buying up huge tracts of property because they're unbelievably rich, that denies the ability for a person to purchase that house instead. And therefore we become a nation of renters. He literally said about this at the World Economic Forum. That's a really sensible policy. That's a sensible that should be a conservative right-wing policy to say, no, we are not going to be at the mercy of predatory capital. Which is what Zack's arguing. And that's a very reasonable thing. The country itself is more valuable than any money that they might give the state or the country in order to monopolize the resources of it. I'm sorry, it's just the case. And so that is a good point by Zack.
Energy is for warming those homes, not record dividends. And rivers.
I mean, yeah, sure, I guess. If our energy generation was more efficient, not windmills, as Trump calls them, then perhaps it wouldn't be such a problem.
For nature and swimming in, not being poisoned to protect profits. And when we live well and we protect our environment, we don't burn out. It's how we grow. It's how our whole country grows. And yes, together, it's how we make hope normal again.
And to be honest with you, that's a good pitch. That is a good pitch. I don't like his term, the phrasing of the term hope, because it's a bit, it's too left-wing coded for me. But he is right. We should have optimism for the future, right? Because hope implies that we're essentially waiting for daddy government to come in and save us. But we should be optimistic about our futures. We should be looking at the end of the tunnel and seeing a light that we can move into and say, yeah, no, I'm going to get there at some point. If I just work this and I do that and I save here and I invest there, then at some point I will arrive at that place and I'll be very proud of myself and I'll have done something very productive. So, and that's, I think, the message that people are going to take away from it. And I think that he's done a good job here. This is a very persuasive and very poignant summation of a bunch of real problems that we are all feeling. Like I do very well because I've got YouTube and I've got a business, and yet I feel fucking burned out, man. Just to maintain like the middle class lifestyle that me and my family are living, like I have to make videos on this channel. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually love making videos on this channel because it's actually super easy, because it's just me talking to a camera about whatever it is that bothers me. But there are days where I'm exhausted, right? There are days where I am just, I'd rather just, sit down and spend some time with the kids or whatever. But I can't, because I'm like, no, something's got to be paid for. I know this has got to be paid for. I know the car's going to need an MOT or whatever it is. So it's like, right, I can't really justify just slacking off and just sitting around. And this is what, Zack is talking to. And even people who are doing well, living very nice middle-class lives, we are feeling it. I'm sure my neighbors are in the same position. And he's right on this. He is absolutely right. And the right should have a good strategy on this. Now, the reason that we're feeling like we're fucking bankrupt, I think for different reasons than Zack. I don't think it's just that the rich are hoovering up all the money in the country. I think it's the government, man. Like, this is government expenditure as a percentage of GDP. So all the money that the country earns in a year, 44% of it in this country is spent by the government. That is taken from us. Half of all the wealth that's generated in the country, and the government spends it. I mean, in some other countries it's worse, right? Germany it's 49%, Sweden, Norway 49%, France is 57%. That is mad. And then you compare it to someone like America, 37%. I mean, that's not great. Ireland, 22%. God, how lucky they are. I notice that Ireland is just a howling wilderness full of starving, impoverished people. No, Ireland's doing great. Irish GDP per capita surpassed us recently because their taxes are lower, they get more business investment, and the state is less of a monster. But that's the problem. We have monstrous states. And you just look at it, right? That means, the UK's GDP is nearly £3 trillion annually, right? So 2.9 trillion. You think, Jesus Christ, right? So that means that the British state is spending 1.2 trillion a year. A year. Nearly half of everything we make, the state is just stealing and spending. And of course, everything the state spends, I'm very much on the Milton Friedman train here. Every pound spent by the government is a pound you just basically burn. Seriously, I hate government spending with a passion, but it is unbelievable. And so, no wonder you feel like you're getting poorer, because the state is debasing the currency and then stealing half of the nation's wealth. That's mad. How did we get here? Why are we permitting this? Like, and then when you look at the things that it's spending on, oh, right, 334 billion on social security. So that's pensions, so that's benefits and child benefits, right? So that is a third of what the government is, it's a quarter of what the government steals goes to benefits. Holy crap, man. No wonder we feel impoverished. But again, it's not everyone getting impoverished, is it? No, that's the people who are working hard, like Zack is talking about, who are being impoverished by the state, and that's going to, well, I mean, let's lift that 2-child benefits cap. That's not fair, is it? It's not fair that they don't work and don't get more money. And then, I mean, when it happened, and they were calculating, and there were women with 5 kids who were getting like $6,000 a month, and I'm just like, I swear to God. And then you've got the NHS, which is nearly 200 billion, 190 billion. So out of the, so that's like a sixth of the money that's being spent, which is, again, enormous. These are just numbers on screens, right? 190 billion. What does that mean? Well, if 1 billion was accidentally a bank error in your favor put into your account, you would never run out of it. You would never see the end of it. You'd buy mansions, you'd buy Ferraris, you'd go on holiday all around the world all the time, and you'd never see the end of it. Like, it's such an insane amount of money, and projections going up to 242 billion. Oh, that's great. That's just great. Because why? Well, the population keeps growing, doesn't it? And the population we bring in, I know are disproportionately using that NHS, because I've had to use the NHS, and I go in there and I see it. I'm like, right, I see that waiting room. So anyway, I mean, that's literally half of it. It all goes just on the NHS and social care. Like, this is what we gave up the empire for, folks. Just FYI. And so Zack's, I thought I had a pie chart around here somewhere. Here we go. It's down here. So yeah, it's just madness, right? There's health, there's social security pensioners, social security children. Then you've got education, 9%, net debt interest at 8.4%, which, don't get me wrong, is a lot, because, I mean, that's billions, obviously, but defense is 4.8%. Seems tiny. Transport, 3.8%. Public order and safety, 3.8%. Long-term care, 2.4%. Housing and community amenities, 1.5%. Then overseas aid at 1%. So even if we cut the overseas aid, it's not a huge deal. But where was it? I had a thing here. I guess it must have been a different tab I can't find. But there was just this one, like, the day-to-day public services are just a huge amount. That's a third of it. And it's like, man, that is mad. That's not including the social security and all that. Oh yeah, there we go. Public sector net investment, right? It's only like 2%. Because I when I was researching this video, I was thinking, you know what I think is happening here? I think that basically the government is enriching private corporations, which I'm sure it is to a large degree. But I thought it'd be larger than this sort of like just throwing money at corporations. But apparently that's very low. But I mean, the services the government is employing, this third, I mean, a lot of this will be, the slack will be picked up by services from private companies. So I imagine that's definitely helping. But then I thought, okay, well, Zack Polanski's like, yeah, it's the super rich who are the problem. I was like, right, yeah, you know what, you've got a good point there, right? A lot of the super rich are going to be a problem. But who are these super rich, in Britain in particular, right? And so I looked it up, and, oh, the super rich have been great replaced. So the top individuals and families and their primary source of wealth, according to Google's AI. The Gopi Hinduja and family, 35.3 billion. So obviously this is an Indian family. A vast conglomerate with interest in finance, energy, media and automotive. Okay, great. David and Simon Rubin and family, 26.87 billion. They made their fortunes in technology, private equity and significant property investments. They're Jewish. Sir Leonard Blavadnik, 25.73 billion. He's Ukrainian. British-American magnate with vast investments, including in Russia. So James Dyson, the first Englishman on the list, he founded a technology firm called Dyson, famous for vacuum cleaners, for anyone who's not aware. And so an actual homegrown success, and someone who I think we can actually say, at least I mean, like, I don't have very much details about the other ones. Obviously, I haven't spent that much time looking into it. But at least we can say with Dyson, they deserve it. They made a product. Lots of people like the product. Made them insanely rich. Idan Offer, an Israeli billionaire with wealth from shipping and energy. Okay, there's another foreigner. The Guy, George, Alana, and Galen Weston and family, 17.75 billion. Well, they're Canadians, so not native, but okay, whatever. At least they're Canadian. And then Sir Jim Ratcliffe, another Englishman, the second Englishman, 17 billion. Founder of a chemical giant. Again, I don't really know what they do, right? So, I mean, they obviously do chemicals, but like, I don't have any details. So, I mean, maybe maybe Zack's got a point about those evil billionaires. But this is the thing. Like, we are just at the mercy of global capitalism and globalism. This is the product of it, right? There's a bunch of foreigners who he's talking about. He's like, we've got to tax the super rich. What, the Hindujas? Okay, I mean, I don't care. Tax them all you like. But the point being, I don't think this solves any of the problems, right? So why don't we just confiscate all of their wealth, right? So that's what, 60 billion, 85 billion, 100 billion, 105 billion, 125 billion, and then another 35. So say we get about 160, 170 billion out of all of that. Well, I mean, how long does that last? Like, I don't know, 170 billion is a lot of money, but I mean, that's, well, the pensions for a year, right? If we confiscate and liquidate all that wealth. That's not the NHS for a year. Obviously, we don't fund the NHS for a year if we just steal all that money. Yeah, we need to tax them. I agree. Don't get me wrong. I actually agree. Screw it, tax them. Fuck it, just do it. Take those, the top 10 families or whatever they're doing, tax them. Well, I don't care. Be punitive about it at this point. But the point is, it's just not going to raise the money he thinks it's going to raise. And of course, the issue of capital flight is already happening because Britain is becoming a less enviable place to live. But he is right on the problem. He is right on the problem. The problem is that, frankly, people just do not have enough money. He doesn't have the solutions because it wasn't like a former teacher or something. Obviously, he doesn't have the solutions. But he is right on the problem. And the right needs to be able to articulate this as well. Not only do we have all of our good points about the integrity of the country, the culture, and the possession of the land, but the left do have a point in this, in that life is very, very difficult. And unlike Zack, where the dividing line is here and he can't see any of the validity of our points, we should be able to look over to his side of the fence and say, yeah, this, and this is a valid point. And we should take those and say that we're going to fix these things too. Anyway, if you would like to support us, you can, of course, go and get your copy of Islander magazine before they are sold out. And at the rate they're going, they're definitely going to sell out. It's amazing. It's the best thing we produce, and I'm incredibly proud of it. Couldn't be more proud, frankly. I realize I keep endorsing it, and of course it's our magazine, so we're selling it, but this is what we do instead of taking sponsorships, right? Like, I don't like taking sponsorships. I've never liked it, and it's always felt, we've done a few at Load Seaters, but it always sat really uneasily, and we were never very good at them. Some people are good at like making like meme adverts and stuff, but we're no good at that. But what we are good at is creating the best philosophy magazine in the world, bar none. Like, no one comes anywhere near us. No one touches us. We are the best. It is the most beautiful and it is the coolest. And it's 100% ours. Like, everything about this is completely homemade, handcrafted. And no, this was not an AI image on the front, by the way. Right? Because the image takes a long time to do, because Roy draws it, right? Roy's drawing these. He's got like a tablet and I don't know the thing, but he's got a drawing tablet and he sits there in front of his laptop drawing this thing all day, every day, right? And I was like, Roy, we're coming close to the deadline, man. Why don't you just use ChatGPT? And he was just like, no. And so instead he busted his rear end to get it done, and it came out great. But it was really funny. So I mean, I was just like, will people understand? But I saw a bunch of people claiming that this was an AI cover. It is not an AI cover, obviously. Obviously, we're not gonna do an AI cover to Rory just wouldn't have it, which is the correct thing to do. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not even saying AI art can't be used for anything. It's just this is not it. Just so FYI, if there are people saying this AI, this is not AI. This is hand drawn, and that's why it looks so impactful. Link in the description.